Hi, this is Mason. It's 11 o'clock in the morning in Syracuse, and we're live in the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
Oh, Monday. What is up on a Monday? Glad to have you in. Glad to be rocking and rolling here on this Monday. Lots to get to. On a Monday here. We'll break down the men's basketball selection. No, Preston, we won't do that. We won't do that. We will not break down the men's basketball selection show today. Doesn't quite seem like worth the time. Maybe we'll talk a little tournament. I feel, just because it seems like a thing to do, maybe we'll do a live bracket fill out on Thursday. Maybe we'll do that Thursday. I can put it on the screen, like open up my bracket from a pool and just rip it in like 15 minutes. Less, 5 minutes. We can. Women's bracket too. The women talk about getting, screwed, because like Syracuse women's basketball was like their profile was of an 8-9 game. They did not get screwed in that sense. But my goodness, NCAA Selection Committee, have just a whiff of imagination. This is the third time the Orange Women have gone to stores in the last decade. Plus, they were in the 8-9 game to UConn's 1 seed in the bubble tournament when you could have matched up anybody with anybody on planet Earth. Everyone was in San Antonio, so the whole thing is just clearly wackadoo when it comes to that. We'll get into that today. And much more here on this fine Monday. And welcome in, and we can't officially start the show. What's up, Cuse, Oregon, LA Orange, West Coast well represented. Kev, Gavendo, everyone, Jen's coming back from Florida. Let's fire up the Thompson Road Tavern opening menu here to kick things off here on this Monday. Thompson Road Tavern, they had games will be on there later this week. Syracuse won't be playing in them, except for the women. The women scheduled to tip off 5:30 on Saturday. Looking to the future, currently strongly pondering doing a little post-game show for the women versus Audie Crooks in Iowa State on Saturday. Talk about lack of imagination. Syracuse has already played Iowa State in an 8-9 game in the Gampel Coliseum within the last decade. They won by like 30. Shout out Gabby Cooper. But they'll be doing it again on Saturday. So if people are down for it, we may do a little post-game show for the women on Saturday. If they win, I don't know how enthused I'd be for doing one for them on Monday against UConn. Yeah, I don't know. Tonight, speaking of our daily menu, we're going to attempt, as long as y'all are down for it, to do a little post-game show for lacrosse tonight. It's an 8 o'clock face-off in Denver. Unless you are really fiscally committed to the scene, watching it's going to be tricky. Because try to see if you can watch Altitude. Now maybe we can find some alternate universe where we could tune it on. Maybe you West Coast people can fire up Altitude. But the game's on Altitude, which is essentially it's the Yes Network of Denver, is what Altitude is. It's the local cable sports network that's been around for a long time. Nuggets, Avalanche, the whole thing. So the game against Denver is on there at 8 o'clock tonight. I have tried every login that I've got my grubby little hands on, every possible thing to see if I can get Altitude, and my goodness, I cannot. Apparently, you might be able to drop like a one-time $9.99 fee to watch it. I'm not really feeling that. So we might woo it up. Kev's not going to be up at 11 o'clock tonight. We might woo it up with a little bit of Kyle and Tim and see what's going on out there. Listen to that. We can all listen. We can have a listening party and be on the Twitter and then reconvene after. If there's a crowd, we'll post game for a little while. If there's not a big crowd, we'll post game for a very little while. So that's coming up later tonight. Other news and notes for later this week. Our TPS report, normally on Wednesdays, will be on Thursday. this week due to some scheduling on my part on Wednesday, not available Wednesday night. So a double show Thursday with Live in the Three, a double show Monday and a double show Thursday. Likely a show Saturday. Another lacrosse post-game show on Sunday. Cuse Georgetown finally back in the Dome on Sunday afternoon. As far as the menu for this show here, while it really feels like we're down to Brian Hodgson or Jerry McNamara. That's what it feels like. I don't know if that's true, but it's what it feels like. $19.95 per month. Yeah, I love me some lax. I'm not pay-per-viewing a lax game for $20. Or just having a whole month where I can watch some sweet Avalanche hockey. Like I'm good. I'm good on that. So I'll let Kyle at altitude. I'll count the woos and we'll see if we can't figure out how many goals the Orange have in the ball game tonight. That's an 8 o'clock face-off. So I guess post game at 10:30 somewhere in that range. So hopefully it won't be too crazy late. Maybe they'll keep it peppy. Man, the semester starts again today. Gary Gates not afraid to take a spring break trip that spills beyond spring break. I've already started getting emails about my class tonight about people getting my flight got canceled back, can't make it. So, okay. So that's going on out there in the world. As far as the show today, even though we think it's down to Hodgson and Jerry, it may not be. We're continuing Who's Next. We're 6 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. 6 people mentioned in the various reporting by like Matt Norlander and Jeff Goodman and John Rothstein and that whole crew that are potentially at least early days involved for the Syracuse job. Jerry being one. You look at Josh Schertz was another name out there, though he basically right after that signed a long-term contract extension with St. Louis. He'll ironically also be with St. Louis in Buffalo for the tournament on Thursday with Brian Hodgson from USF, who will be playing his games in Buffalo. So Hodgson and Jerry will also be there. Hop was mentioned. UConn assistant Luke Murray was mentioned. And Merrimack head coach Joe Gallo was mentioned. So we've sort of done Luke Murray, but not really when we did his co-assistant coach in Kamani Young. We've not touched Joe Gallo at all. Master of the 2-3 zone? I don't know about that. Yeah. You walk into our dojo and tell us who's master of the 2-3 zone. So I think those will be our 2 victims this week on the whole thing when we're doing Who's Next. And we'll see how long we do Who's Next until we know exactly who's next. We'll do a little bit of no wrong answers for the lax game tonight as Syracuse gets to tangle with the current number 1 scoring defense in the country and the Denver Pioneers, no longer coached by Bill Tierney because he retired like it was a minute ago. But shout out Bill Tierney. Hated rival. Actually a really great dude. Bill Tierney's like the nicest guy. I loathe to admit that Bill Tierney is the nicest guy. He's the freaking nicest guy. Shout out Bill Tierney for being a mysteriously nice guy after being that loathed dude for all those many years at Princeton. We'll take your calls. Link pin top of the chat if you'd like to chime in on any of that or wherever else you'd like to go. We can get that going for you throughout the course of the show today. And I got to tell you, what's on the menu at the Thompson Road Tavern? It's Monday. We know what their Monday special is. I'm reading it off their chalkboard on their Facebook right now. It's the $5 Nashville Hot. And the hot is underlined with a squiggly line. Chicken sandwich. Weck Wednesday coming up. They got a breakfast burger on Thursday. I don't know if that means an egg is going on top of a burger or if it means something else, but that's something you can find out on Thursday. So there we are, Thompson Road Tavern opening menu here today as we launch into it. Yeah, fella Ferda, I can see how the Brian Hodgson comments of last week on the Field of 68 thing could push people to the side. Like the Hodgson stuff is really hard to place because on one hand, you've got the story like he's a foster kid, grew up in Jamestown, Western New York. Apparently his dad is suffering from a dementia and has never seen him coach live. He lives in the Buffalo area. USF is playing in the tournament in Buffalo, so Brian Hodgson's dad will get to see him in person live for the first time in his coaching career as a head coach. So, that's going to be just a soppy, emotional story coming up on whatever channel it's on, CBS, TNT, TBS, True TV. Know where your True TV is. Coming up later this week. And then on the other hand, the haircut, the general vibe coming off him is just a little the Nate Oates Association when, like, I realize Nate's a good coach, but he's kind of a prick. So I don't know. I don't know. Jerry, on the other, now is Hodgson the better coach? Maybe so. Jerry, who doesn't like Jerry? Lovable Jerry. Lovable Jerry. Here's the thing about Jerry, and Jerry is you don't need a nice guy. You want a winner. Can you be both? We know Jerry was a winner as a player, and Jerry's a winner as a coach. Hodgson might be a nice guy. I mean, I've seen like 4 sound bites from him. We don't know anything. I don't know anything about the guy as a guy. We haven't covered him. We don't really know any of that. We know Jerry just because we've known him for a long time too. Cuse, Oregon's also from Scranton. Okay, there we go. But here's what I find interesting about the Jerry candidacy is what we know of Jerry, the player, and all of it is Jerry is, like, it hasn't gone away. Was as a player, is as a coach. A fierce competitor. An absolute fierce competitor. He loathes losing. I think hate isn't strong enough. Jerry effing hates losing basketball games. Now, hey, Jim Boeheim and Adrian Autry don't like losing basketball games either. The question is here, when Jerry was an assistant coach at Syracuse, and I'd say less so for Jim, but more so for Red in the year that he was. And we've seen the clips of Jerry, he's chest bumping everybody, he's doing all that. And yet Jerry did some of that as an assistant coach for Syracuse. And Jim talked about this a lot, right? He talked about this a lot, especially the year where Hop had to take over with a suspension for 9 games, about how, Hop didn't get a fair shake, blah, 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 because he was coaching my team. He didn't get to do it his way because he still had to coach my team. Jerry, while he was an assistant coach, as far as his personality, as far as everything, it still had to fit in the construct of the head guy. Now, when Jim Boeheim's the head guy, that's one thing. Obviously, that's 4 decades of infrastructure. When Red gets the job over Jerry, I don't want to say Jerry was deferential, because that seems like too pleasant of a term, but Jerry wasn't going to be, the asshole about it, right? Jerry was going to lean hard, and he did, into being the number 2 guy. It was not his job to put his imprint on the team. So, I don't know. We like that about Jerry. And now we see Jerry doing that with Siena, and it's very overt. And if he's the head coach of Syracuse, it would be very overt. Much like with Hopkins, it would be very overt, because we know those guys. Brian Hodgson might be the same guy. I don't know. It's not that he's not. It's that we don't know him like we know Jerry. Watching Jerry do the chest bumping and all that stuff with his guy, and the way he talked about his players and all of that, the passion, it was very, very compelling. That is an unpopular take, Weeze, but you hang on. Maybe we'll get it before the hour is up. So, and that's not to say that Jerry should get the job. I think those 2 right now, I'd put them as the 2 leaders in the clubhouse. Interview them both. And I think there are very valid questions that I would like to hear certain answers to from both. Yeah, like Hodgson's USF team plays very similar to Alabama. It's a high... ironically, it's sort of like Red said he wanted to play, like go, go, go. They're playing a high tempo, a little different than Red. The focus is more on the offense. They're shooting, it's very analytical. It's the NBA thing of threes, and it's layups and threes. There's no mid-range to talk about. They're not iso balling it. It's a really high pace. It's fun basketball to watch. Oh yeah, we're letting it fly on a Monday, Weeze. But Jerry's Jerry. And here's what it is. In this situation, the job of everybody involved. Brian with a Y, Blair, John Wildhack, Mike Haney, the board of trustees, Mike Tirico, anybody, the Lallies, anyone that's involved with this. The number one guy, the number one job is to hire the best guy for this job. The number one job here is to hire the best guy for this job. If you think it's Brian Hodgson, hire Brian Hodgson. If you lose Brian Hodgson to Providence and you wanted him and you're Syracuse, what are you even doing? Like, if you want Brian Hodgson and Providence wants Brian Hodgson and he goes to Providence over Syracuse, like, everyone needs to buy mirrors and look at him. That would be a ridiculous thing to happen from a Syracuse basketball perspective. On the other side of the coin, and I'll say we talk about assistants. Last week we talked about my newest Instagram follower, Chris Carrawell. We'll talk this week about Luke Murray. We talked about his fellow coach at UConn and Kamani Young. I understand the wariness from going after another assistant coach after Red. There is reason to be wary. If you like Luke Murray, interview Luke Murray. But Ty does not go to an assistant coach in this case. Luke Murray, like, if Hodgson and Jerry are here, Luke Murray better be here. It better be clear and obvious that he's the guy to make another hire of an assistant, because that scares the living crap out of me right now. But if it's Hodgson and Jerry, Hodgson, Jerry, hire Hodgson. If it's Hodgson and Jerry, hire Jerry. If it's close, I think Ty should go to Jerry because of everything else that leads to, because people love Jerry. If it's not close, like, don't hire, if Hodgson's in front, that's not close. If Hodgson's in the lead, hire Hodgson. Don't lose him to freaking Providence. If in your mind, in the hiring committee, it's close, hire Jerry. And because of the passion in the whole thing, and everyone loves Jerry, and hiring Jerry, I think, would give a better juice to tickets and all that than hiring Hodgson necessarily. Just because everyone loves Jerry. I know everyone says, oh, they don't want any of the family and whatever, but people love Jerry. People love Jerry. He's beloved. And Hodgson may be the better coach. I don't know. I don't sit here all day watching USF play basketball. Why? I didn't watch USF play basketball when they were in the same league as Syracuse. I tried to avoid watching USF play basketball. They were in the Big East together, and I did not like watching USF play basketball. I don't go out of my way to watch USF play basketball. But if it is those two, here's what I want to know. Like, one of the main things I want to know. All right, you need to evaluate the coaching. I think we all think Hodgson's a decent coach. How much is he winning because of athleticism? Is he going to recruit at a high enough level to be able to win because of athleticism in the ACC? It's a legitimate question to ask. And that's tied to NIL. With Jerry, like, if you didn't watch a lot of Siena this year, I forgive you. If you watched the MAC championship game on Tuesday, you saw offense being run. You saw legit offense being run. Like, Jerry can coach. Jerry, knowing ball, has never, and being able to draw up some ball plays and the whole thing, be it like that's never been an issue. The questions with Jerry, in my mind, were always about recruiting. So the main questions I'm asking Jerry are about recruiting. And in regards to recruiting, especially in this day and age, it's more like, hey, you're Jerry. Does you being Jerry lead to NIL? And if the answer is yes, then okay. And much like with Hodgson, he's tight with the Lallies now, right? Or tight enough to be something. Does that lead to more money in the kitty for Cuse NIL? That matters in this day and age. Ask them both that. Like, have a calculator. Try to figure it out. Who's bringing in more NIL? Who's bringing in more NIL? And yeah, to your guys' point, do they care what the fan base thinks about it? Minimally. But no, that's not how this hire is being made. And if you're going to try to read the fan base over the Jerry part of it, good luck coming to a conclusion, because there's a bunch of people that everyone loves Jerry, but there's a bunch of people that love Jerry, hire Jerry, we love Jerry, and then there's an equally large bunch of people, or certainly an equally loud bunch of people, that are like, get away from anything that's been done, change it up completely. So there's no way to look at the fan base and determine between one or the two, because they're shouting both things equally loudly. And those two things are the direct opposite. So, yeah. Also with Jerry and with Hodgson, Here's what I want to ask. What I like about Hodgson and Jerry, for that point, we'll get to that when we get to Who's Next today, because our candidate in Who's Next today does not have this. Jerry and Hodgson both have time spent in the big time. They know what the big time is. Jerry's entire career as a player, as an assistant, was at Syracuse. And you might say, oh, I wish he had more other stuff. Well, at this point, he knows what the big time is. Hodgson came up little time, Buffalo, medium-sized time, but then he was with Nate Oates in Alabama, which SEC big time, and then they took Alabama to the big time part of the big time. Weren't they a 1 seed that year when Hodgson was there, or one of the years? Like, he has seen and understood the big time. So I like that even though both are coming from a lower level right now, Jerry lower than Hodgson, they've both been up here and they know what that's all about. I think that is important. Yeah, Gavendo, their center is clearly, Sienna Center clearly has been to the AO school of post moves. I'm like, I've seen those post moves. It's been a minute, but I've seen those moves. The up and under, I've seen it. So I think it's going to be fascinating. I think both are very sellable hires to the fan base. I think for all of you that say, God, no, not Jerry, don't do it. I'm going to imagine most of you will be able to talk yourself into Jerry by the time the ball is in the air in November. And for those of you to say, it's got to be Jerry, how could it not be? If Hodgson comes in and they hit the portal hard and all that stuff, like, you're going to be able to talk yourself into Hodgson real quick too. I think they're both potentially very reasonable hires at this point. And legitimately at this point, I'd be shocked if it wasn't one of the two. What I have not heard yet, nor seen yet, is we've talked about the new athletic director in Brian with a Y Blair. Will I ever call him anything other than Brian with a Y Blair? Probably not. Should other people call him Brian with a Y Blair? Join the movement. Is it an insult? Is it a compliment? We still haven't decided yet. It could be a good thing. So, yeah, and that's part of it too. P. Mahaki. That, like, Jerry's staff basically has hardly any collegiate experience with Arinze and Blackwell and whatnot. And, the staff itself, Florida has some, but it's also, they're his guys. So I wonder, like, with both of them, especially expanded staffs, larger staffs, hey, Jerry, if you want to bring all three of those guys from Siena, great, but we're funding it. You get 6 assistants, and we need some some guys. Like, now that you can have an expanded staff, you can have those guys, and you can have more. So there is that. What I haven't heard yet is this. All right, is Brian Blair himself bringing in any interesting other candidates? Like, who is he tied in with? That's interesting. Like, is he intrigued? Like, he's been in the MAC the last few years. Does that make him intrigued by the likes of a Travis Steele or a John Gross or any of the guys that he saw up close and personal against his Toledo teams in the MAC? I don't know. Like, none of this is out there. Like, where is there just he cross paths with somebody? Or not even cross paths. Just, he's in the world. He's an athletic director. He's got a list. He's intrigued. I don't know. I feel good about Blair already. Like, he's intriguing. Still no word yet if and when, well, I'm sure when an opening press conference from Blair will be. I'll say this, if his press conference is at a reasonable, like, hopefully, I'm hoping it times out well that we can cover his press conference live here whenever that may be. Yeah, like a guy like Tim O'Toole. Tim O'Toole seems pretty well tied into Pittsburgh right now. It doesn't have to be him, but a guy like that. There are guys like that, Gavendo. Can you get a guy like that? Jerry actually sort of had a guy. I didn't realize he had longtime St. Rose coach. Now it's Division II, but St. Rose was always solid at Division II. But, in the Albany area, he had Brian Bury on his staff the last years. I didn't realize that till last week. Bury was a big name in Albany basketball for many, many, many years. Now, he's, that's kind of was a retirement gig for Bury. So when he moved to Syracuse to do it, Jerry, it's not that. But can you have, like, the old veteran steady hand on the staff? I wished Red had it. I think Red would have been much better positioned to succeed if he had something like that. So with both that's a question for any coach. Both these younger coaches, Jerry's what, 40, 41, Hodgson's 38, I think. Yeah. Especially now that you get 6 assistant spots, it's not a spot on staff that needs to be like that doesn't need to be a recruiting job. It doesn't need to be any of that. It doesn't need to be any of those things. Doesn't need to be out on the road. That just needs to be somebody that's, they're there. They've been there. They'll be there. The whole thing. The whole thing. So I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how it all plays out. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. As far as the timetable, I haven't a clue as far as the timetable. Like, I couldn't begin to tell you a timetable on something like that because it's like, when does Jerry play? Friday? Is it Friday? Thursday? Friday? I think Jerry plays Friday. All apologies to Jerry. Jerry's season's done by the weekend. USF's in a 5-12 game or a 6-11 game. They're playing Louisville. Louisville's been a little wonky recently. That's a winnable game for USF, I think. Like, what am I predicting them to win the game? Like, let's not get totally crazy on it, but that feels like a winnable game for USF coming up on Saturday. So we'll see how that all turns out, but I think there's a shot that by Saturday morning, like, the two main candidates are available, certainly by Monday morning, unless there's a crazy run through the tournament for USF or something like that. But I don't know. It would be very interesting to see when a move like this gets made. I could see it being done as early as potentially Monday or Tuesday next week if we're looking at a world in which those are the two main candidates and they both get eliminated by Saturday. Like, interview them immediately. Heck, I don't know if you want to bother Hodgson while he's getting ready for the tournament. He's going to be in Buffalo. Like, he's right there. It's not far to go. Like, get out there and let's hear what the guy's got to say about life, right? He's going to be in Buffalo. Get out there and let's hear what he's got to say about it all so we can try to get this all put together and sorted as quickly as humanly possible, because the faster... Now, what's the... be fast, don't hurry? Is that the John Wooden? Be fast, don't hurry. Like, don't rush. But at the same time, some expediency here is going to be good, because you just want to have your ducks rode the whole thing before we get ready to talk about the portal opening and staff filling out and all those things that still need to happen to make this work in the way that it needs to work for Syracuse going forward. When is the live and the 315 bracket contest coming in? Maybe we'll all do it together on Thursday morning, Matt and I. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. There's a ton of Doty iso ball and stagnant stuff. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like, Jerry's a good basketball coach. Like, I trust Jerry way more with the X and O stuff than Red. We'll see. I would love to see. Has anyone what's Jordan? Which post is this, Jordan? Hey, Jordan Capozzi in the chat, everybody. Who's complaining about what? Who's complaining about what? Where have I been? Why am I not up on the complaining? You tell me who's been complaining about what. Jordan's going to tell us who's complaining about what, and then we will. Yeah. Simply Sweet Sisters patches here. Wild Birds Unlimited here. Klein was whining a bit. I didn't really see any. I saw. What did I see? I saw Griff was quoted in a DO article somewhere. Alex Klein's girlfriend. All right. I mean, yeah. Blame everybody. I blame everybody. Yeah, I don't know. Shout out to the new sponsor before we move on. Check it out. It's on the screen right now. Vera House. Shout out to our friends at Vera House. They'll be with us for the next month at least here as we launch into a very, very important month for the Vera House as they get into their annual white ribbon fundraising campaign. For those that don't know, the Vera House significantly involved in the prevention of violence against women. They have their annual walk and breakfast coming up in early April. The breakfast is on April 8th. The keynote speaker this year is one Fran Brown. A link should be, has it gone past? A link should be going through the chat here at some point to go find out about that. Where's the link? Has the link gone through? You never know with these links. Sometimes these links have a mind of their own. Let's scroll back. Has the link gone through? I don't see the link. Where is the link? You send me the link. Maybe the link hasn't gone through. The link's going to go through, gosh darn it. I will post the link right now. Wherever I put the link. Where's the link? Hang on. The Vera House White Ribbon Campaign. Donate, all that stuff. All these good things. You know, we're very charitable here. There's a link. Click on it. Do stuff. There's a walk you can register for. There's a breakfast. The walk is free. The breakfast, not as free. Not as free. So, you know, do all those things. Check it out. We'll have somebody from the Vera House on later this month to explain their whole deal. We're efforting Fran. Fran is the keynote speaker. What are they actually calling him? He's the honorary chair. Ooh la la. Honorary chair. Fran Brown is the guy. So hopefully we'll get some Fran in our lives to talk that, and I suppose we'll talk a little football. We'll see if that can all come together. But for the actual dates of their month, this is the month of April. I realize that currently is the month of March. But in talking to Rebecca and the fine folks at the Vera House, we wanted to start telling you about it like before the month so you'd have time to do something about it. So there's the link. Do the things. Check it all out. And we'll be telling you much more about that as the month goes along. As the month goes along. So there we go. Vera House. Shout out to Vera House for coming along. Thad Matta's retiring again. Where was he? He was at Butler this time, I think. Former Xavier and Ohio State head coach Thad Matta, the head coach of Ohio State, in that stupid game the Orange lost without Fab Mello with a terrible referee. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll know in the next 2 weeks. I'm hoping, Cuse Oregon, before we launch in today's Who's Next, I am hoping that by... So we'll be live in the 315 on Thursday, then Monday, then Thursday again. I am hoping that we need to do an emergency live in the 315 before next Thursday's show to talk about it. I'm hoping that they get something done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest in there next week. I'm hoping that they get it done somewhere in there. Oh, Michael Brown's back. He's good. He's good at putting the old ball in the basket. Yeah, if you get a sourdough starter scented bird feeder cam on WEC, like what's better than that? Just tossing a donation to the Vera House on the side, and all is good. GMAC would fit well at Butler. Yeah, I could. One last thought on Jerry for now, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more thoughts on Jerry through the week. And I get Butler's a Big East job now, so is it a mid-major job anymore? Like, Butler's at a higher level now than it was when they made those crazy back-to-back runs with the national championship game. So, maybe. My sense of Jerry is not a bounce-around guy. He's got 80 million kids, 4. There's a lot of McNamara's running around. They're all in school. They're I assume they're in the North Colony School District and not private school. That's where they're going. I'm a graduate of theirs, so look what it produced. So if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for the freaking McNamara's. So he's not going to take a step up just to do it. Like if an A10 job came open, I don't think Jerry's leaving Siena for like an A10 job. A Big East job, Butler, Providence, I could see it. My guess is Jerry will be content to coach Siena until whatever he views as a destination job comes his way. That's my guess. I have not LA Orange. I suppose I could. Big followers of me on the gram, the Lally Foundation. They love it. They love it, LA Orange. They love it. Lots of likes. I hoard my likes. Yes, keep it a secret no more, Jen. It's out there. It's out there. So, yeah, and with Hodgson, like if Jerry, here's the thing. If Jerry's, the best possible scenario of all of this is Jerry succeeding as the Syracuse head coach. The worst possible scenario of all of this is Jerry failing as the Syracuse head coach. There is a scenario of Hodgson succeeding as Syracuse head coach and then leaving, right? Like, that's a scenario that exists of him succeeding and then, like, the SEC coming in with a bag of cash and him bolting. Like, that is a scenario. If Jerry becomes Syracuse head coach, I cannot see it in my lifetime, Jerry leaving that job voluntarily. That's not a reason to hire him, but in a tie, it's a great tiebreaker. In a tie. That doesn't catch you up in the race, but if the race is close, that is a hell of a tiebreaker. Anyway, yeah, with Hodgson, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Like, brash, the whole thing, like, does it work at a higher level? Yeah, it does. I mean, it works for Nate Oates, but would it work for him? I don't know. I mean, Jerry's a bulldog, man. I'm not confident that Hodgson would leave. I'm confident that Jerry would not. Like, Jerry's not taking the Syracuse job and then being like, screw this, I'm leaving for a better job. Hodgson might do the same thing. Hodgson's from Western New York. He might view the Syracuse job as a final destination. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying that I know it deep in my bones that if Jerry took the job and succeeded, he would be here for life. Like, it's possible Hodgson's the same. I'm just saying with Jerry, I am stone cold dead nuts certain of it. I am certain that Jerry would not leave. Now, in this day and age, right, where people aren't staying at gigs for Boeheim tenure or even half of Boeheim tenure anymore, that doesn't necessarily matter as much as it used to. But, like, I am certain that if you gave Jerry the job, you would have to pry him out of there with your cold dead hands, or his cold dead. Somebody would have cold dead hands, and there would be prying. You figure out who's who in the scenario with Hodgson. And this is not that it's not true. It's just that we don't know him. It's just that we know the link did go through. Did it come past? Did it? Oh, there. Oh wait, there's my link. Did it send again automatically? Where? I'm trying to refresh the auto. I may have to find a better website to send my links. It's ridiculous. Stream Elements. You send my links like I asked about. Okay. Anyway, and now that we've spent 40 minutes talking about will it be Jerry or will it be Hodgson, we must, Cuse Oregon, explore the chance that it still might be someone else. Here's who's next.
Mason here. It's time to continue our search for the next Syracuse basketball head coach. With today's candidate, here's Brian.
It's Jerry Mack. No. Brian Hott. No, we did those. Jerry was the first episode we did. I think Hodgson was like the third or the fourth episode we did. We did them a month ago. If you missed out on our Jerry episode of Who's Next or a Brian Hodgson episode of Who's Next, you're already in the right spot. You're on the YouTube page. There's a playlist. Click the playlist, and like they're not short conversations. You could Like, it'll take you through lunchtime, well into the afternoon. You can pretend to be working watching Who's Next. What a great way to start your Monday. Watch them all. Watch them all. Who's Next it? Get ready to go. So today's Who's Next is not necessarily somebody I'm very enthusiastic about. But today's Who's Next is a name that was on lists of reported candidates. And if we're going to do a thing trying to identify the next head coach of Syracuse, we kind of have to accept the names on the list of reported candidates as being possible people for the job, right? Like, we've done names, and I've lost track. This is like 14. We've done a lot of these. And then the list only has 6 names. The list only has 6 names. So it would be silly to do this whole operation and not at least account for anybody on the list. We've spent a lot of time talking about the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. We've spent a lot of time talking about the head coach of the third-place finisher this year in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, Jerry McNamara, also the conference champion this year in the MAC. What we have not done yet is talk about the head coach of the winner of the regular season this year in the MAC, clean by 4 games, and that is the head coach of Merrimack, Joe Gallo. There he is. One Joe Gallo is today's Who's Next, the Merrimack head coach, and we will explore him. I will say right now, knock me over with a feather if Joe Gallo is the next head coach of Syracuse. I just don't see it happening, but Gallo's done a great job. Much like Lemoyne, they've made the transition from D2 to D1. They've ended up in the MAC. They quickly ascended to being the best team in the MAC, and finally were eligible to go to the postseason as of a couple of years ago. This is now their 7th year already at D1. Time does fly. Still has not made an NCAA Division I tournament. He did coach 3 years, his first 3 at Merrimack in the Division II NCAA tournament. 23-11 this year. They were 17-3 in the regular season, then lost in the conference title game to Jerry and the Saints after playing him tight twice in the regular season. So Joe Gallo is today's Who's Next. So, is Mason's job in danger of being rendered obsolete due to AI? I dare say Mason's job is due to be enhanced because of AI. Just saying. I don't know. Mason knows people in the AI business. So, Joe Gallo has won a lot of games. Joe Gallo's clearly a good basketball coach. But are you going to hire a coach whose hallmark is his version of the 2-3 zone? Is that what you're going to do if you're Syracuse? After Jim Boeheim, Mr. 2-3 zone, like, it's going to be a 2-3 zone is going to be on Jim Boeheim's headstone at some point. You're going to hire somebody else whose thing is the 2-3 zone? Now I realize he's got the modern version of the 2-3 zone and this, that, and whatever. Sure. It's called the tandem 2-3 zone. The tandeming is what makes it work. Because Jim's 2-3 zone, it always just stayed there with 2, then 3, and never did anything else different. But I've ended up on a website right now. I'm at coachhack/go.sellfi.store/p/tandem-2-3-zone/ and for the low price of $29.99, I can learn Coach Joe Gallo's 2-3 zone system in under 2 hours. Wow. For the low price of $29.99. It's unique, it says. Your opponents probably won't understand how to attack it. It says typical zone offensive sets don't work against it because the rotations are unique. It comes with a 33-page guide breaking it down. It comes with a 26-minute teaching tape. It comes with a 15-page drill book. It comes with 105 minutes of chalk talk. It comes with 67 graphically enhanced clips and 27 slide PowerPoint presentation. This is all for $29.99. Fantastic. Yeah, Mick Cronin's not coming to Syracuse. So I just don't see in this day and age and I get that zone works at that level. I just don't think in this day and age that zone is the route to winning ACC games. I get it. Like, just look at how Jim's zone, now I get it, players and whatever, how Jim's zone got ripped apart from the outside in the last few years of the zone. Look at it. That wasn't because Jim Boeheim did not understand that teams were trying to shoot threes against the zone. They were attempting to stop it, and they could not. So I just don't see it for Joe Gallo. Now, the funny, like, Gallo got a contract extension. This is now 3 years ago. Merrimack was keeping him when he had googly eyes for Holy Cross. So this is the level he's been at. The other thing I just would worry me about hiring a guy like Gallo, and honestly, this would potentially worry me maybe even more than hiring like a Luke Murray or a high-level assistant. So Gallo played at Merrimack, coached at Merrimack, coached at Dartmouth, coached at Bobby Moe, Robert Morris, and then get the head job at Merrimack where he's been ever since. The highest level he's ever coached at is Robert Morris. The highest level is Bobby Moe. Oh, man. Could I buy the video? I could. It would be a write-off, Jordan, but the problem with the write-off is I'd still have to spend the $29.99. It would 100% be a write-off, but yeah, I don't know. So, oh good, Q Sports Knower is here with some thoughts on the coaching search. We've all been waiting with bated breath. So, we'll see where it goes here. I just don't think, I like Gallo. Their zone at that level is impressive. Like, this is not a knock on the actual defense or his being able to win, but you look at, where did I put Merrimack's stats here? I look at their numbers here. Merrimack this year, you talk about you want an exciting brand of basketball. Merrimack this year was 327th in Division I. 327th out of what are there now? 360, 70, whatever, however many schools there are now. They were 327th in Division I in scoring offense at 68.5 points a game. Conversely, Brian Hodgson's old boss, Alabama, is leading the way with 91.5 points a game. Are you going to hire a guy that their team is scoring 68 points a game? That's grim. That's grim in this day and age. If you're scoring 68 points a game in the MAC, like, how many points you dialing up to win in the ACC? Now, not that Jerry's doing much better. They're averaging 70.5 points a game, so there is that. And then let's compare it to, is USF going to be under U or S? Are they South Florida or USF in these stats? They should be under USF. I'm going to go there. Oh, come on. They're not under USF? They go by USF. Are they under South Florida? It's ridiculous. They're under South Flaw. I don't like it. South Florida at the moment, Brian Hodgson, their team is 8th in the country in scoring offense, scoring 87 points a game. So those things are certain to keep an eye. Gallo's a perfect bit for BC. Oh, my goodness. Everyone needs to avoid the BC job like the plague. Like the absolute plague. Need to avoid that. It is a career killer. The one guy of all of the people we have talked about that I might say, if offered, should take the BC job, out of all of the people we've talked about on Who's Next, is, if he wants one last taste of the big time, is Mike Hopkins. Like, do you want to be a major conference head coach again? Like, if I could see him being able to work his way into that, just because it'll be a lot harder for him to get a head coaching job elsewhere right now. But there we are, a little Who's Next. Apologies. Didn't mean that as a crapping on Joe Gallo of Merrimack session. I just don't think here in Who's Next that he is the right guy for Syracuse at this time. Mainly because, like, Syracuse has been there and done that, and it's time to do something different. Al Skinner. Shout out to Al Skinner. I looked up Cuse, Oregon. I looked up Al Skinner the other day because you forget how long it's been. Like, well, maybe BC just like, screw it. Hey, remember where we're good? Let's hire Al Skinner again. Yeah, he's 73 and hasn't coached in like 5 years. He's retired. Shout out to Al Skinner though. Did a fantastic job at BC for like a long time. BC was good. Troy Bell, Jared Dudley. Their first few years in the ACC, like before Syracuse got there, they were legitimately good in the ACC. Shout out to Al Skinner. Shout out to you, Al Skinner. Boston College legend. Boston College legend, Al Skinner. Maybe Hop can join that category. Jerry, don't do it. Jerry, like, hey, either you get the Syracuse job or don't. Don't take the BC job, Jerry. Just go back to Siena. Win the league again. Do it again next year. Just don't do it, Jerry. We like you, Jerry. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Yeah, the Providence Syracuse stuff in Hodgson, I don't know what's true on that, but if you are Syracuse and you want Brian Hodgson, you cannot lose Brian Hodgson to Providence. If he's your number one guy, you cannot let Brian Hodgson go to freaking Providence. If you're Syracuse, don't lose the head coach you want to Providence. How about that? How about that if you're Syracuse? Just don't do it. Like, you've got the money, you spend it. If he's who you want. If he's not who you want, he's not who you want. But if he is who you want, he better not be coaching at Providence next year. Okay. Little no wrong answers. Joe Gallo. On Thursday, we'll do somebody that we sort of have done before. We'll revisit the assistant coaching search in UConn and one of the final guy. We've sort of talked about 5.5 guys that have been on the list of 6 that were out there from Matt Norlander and others last week. We'll talk about the other half of the guy we didn't talk about it. We'll do that on Thursday. With that, Lax tonight. Lax tonight out in the mountains. That's the wrong button. Oh, my goodness. With that, let's try this again. Take 2. With that, Lax tonight out in the mountains.
Hi, Mason again. It's time to find out exactly what's going to happen in the next Syracuse game. This is No Wrong Answers. Here's Brian.
Oh, here we are. Oh, I still have that screwed up from there. Oh, let's fix that now so that doesn't become an issue later. No Wrong Answers. Syracuse and Denver on the lacrosse field tonight. 8 o'clock is the face-off time. If you somehow have access to altitude, you can watch the game tonight. We may have to explore some alternative viewing structures to watch that game tonight. Otherwise, I think you can sign up for either a short-term pass for like $10 or a month of altitude for $20. I don't know. Or, Tim and Kyle will be out there at Woo Fest and, the radio, the apps. There's plenty of ways to listen to the game tonight. We're, 10, 10:30, whatever-ish, 11, whatever time the game is over, we'll do a little post-game. We'll see how many people are down for it, and that will determine how long we do a little post-game tonight. So we'll do that tonight. And this will be interesting. Syracuse has now been out in the Mountain Time Zone for, let's see, let me check the calendar here, 7 years. They left a really long time ago. They beat Air Force there last Thursday. Close game, pulled away to win by 6, 17-11. Joey Spallina dishing. Lots of dishing. He had 8 assists. And how about this? Joey Spallina tonight, with his first point tonight, Joey Spallina is going to move into a tie for second place all time on the Syracuse scoring list with one Casey and one Ryan Powell. No word on, his brothers are on the team. So if you'll remember, let's go into the Wayback Machine. If you remember the 2000 National Championship game at Rutgers, Syracuse and Princeton, the Orange had it wrapped up easily, but Ryan Powell got the late assist, I think it was, right, to tie his brother at 287 on the all-time scoring list. Then at the end of the game, Casey comes running on the field, the hug and the whole thing. And then, 4 years later, Mike had 20 points more than both of them. So that's where Spallina is right now. He's 21 points behind Mike Powell for the Orange all-time scoring record. He realistically could have that, probably should have that, before we turn the calendar to May this year. But he, barring something bizarre, will be tying and then passing the eldest two Powell brothers on the Syracuse all-time scoring list tonight. So What do we got tonight? Syracuse and Denver. Denver enters this game. They're the top scoring defense in the country. Air Force was not last week, and the Orange picked them apart. They easily could have scored 10 more goals. Did not have a great finishing day inside. Gary Gate was like, hey, we got good looks. We got to put the ball in the net. Today it's going to be tougher. Denver's an interesting case. This isn't Bill Tierney's Denver anymore. When you think Bill Tierney, you think defense. Randomly, when you think Bill Tierney in Denver, I think more offense because they had all those Canadian dudes when he was coaching there. They won that title in 2015. Like, they had that ball humming around a lot, getting Bill his 7th national championship. This year, they're kind of dug in on the defensive side. They're allowing, I believe it's fewer than 7 goals a game. I think the Orange will get more than that tonight, but it's going to be a grind out there. Now, you've been out there a week. Are you adjusted to altitude? I'd say as well as you can be after that time, right? I don't know how long it takes to fully get your body adjusted to it, but yeah, you've been out there long enough. You had enough break after the last game. That's going to be a tough reason to say if it goes poorly tonight. So no wrong answers. Let's get into it. Joey Spallina certainly will catch Casey and Ryan Powell at 287. He'll breeze past them. 8 assists the other day for Joey Spallina. How about 5 points tonight? 3 goals, 2 assists for Spallina. That will get him to carry the one. 297, 98, 90, 291 career points for Joey. No wrong answers by the end of the night. We called it. It's kind of going back and forth, right? It's a Luke Roa game, and then we're back and forth going back and forth here with these midfield lines. I think it's back to a Luke Roa time here tonight. We're going a hat trick for Luke Roa in this game for Syracuse. Finn Thompson's been cooking lately. 4 assists tonight for the Finner. I think he's got the ball buzzing around a little bit. Well, we tell you that Denver's defense is really good. Syracuse, higher tempo games and all that than Denver is playing in. Syracuse defenses have been really good as well. Denver's goalie stopping 2/3 of the shots. You look at Jimmy McCool, he's no slouch. I think Jimmy stopped 60% of the shots in the ball game today. Johnny Mullen bounced back last game. He was north of 50%. We'll give him 53% tonight. He's still struggling a little bit, but I think he wins enough to give Orange possession. And why not final no wrong answers for this game? Just because it's fun. Billy Dwan, long pole, goal. No wrong answers for the game. Okay, no wrong answers. Final score from the Mountain Time Zone this evening. 17-11 against Air Force last Thursday. Won't be that high scoring today due to Denver's defense. Night game. Long spring break trip. Clearly the guys were just so sad about not being in class today as the semester restarts. Final score, I'm going to go 11-9, no wrong answers, final score tonight. Syracuse completes the sweep in Colorado and knocks off Denver for their first game against the Pioneers in Colorado, since 2002. So after the game, you're in the right spot. Well, we'll see what the appetite is for a lax post-game show here on a game that most of you won't be able to watch on a Monday night. We're gonna roll it out there. We're gonna roll the balls out there and see what happens. So listen to the game if you've somehow got the illegal cable or something spliced into your house, or you're on the dark portions of the web and you've watched it. Great, you can come tell us what happens. We wouldn't do that. That would be frowned upon. We wouldn't do a thing like that. But after the game tonight, a little bit of a lax post-game show, and we look forward to that. As far as coming up for the rest of the week, TPS report is Thursday this week instead of Wednesday. Remember, scheduling obligations on Wednesday. Scheduling obligations on Wednesday. So, barring something wacky happening in the next 2 days, the next time we'll be live is Thursday. Well, the next time we'll be live is tonight for the postgame show. Barring something wacky after that, on Wednesday or Tuesday, which is a weird way to say Tuesday or Wednesday, the next time we'll be live is with Live in the 315 on Thursday at 11, and then we'll have a Who's Next, and then we'll have Jordan on Thursday night, which will also turn into, we're clearly not broadcasting it, but we're clearly watching the games. It'll be like a little watch party version of the NCAA tournament that Syracuse isn't playing in. So, yeah, there's that. With that, Thank you, of course, to our sponsors. The Most. I was at The Most yesterday. Vera House, new to the list. Make sure to check things out for their White Ribbon Month starting in April. Donate their breakfast, their walk, the whole thing. Simply Sweet Sisters. Go buy a candle. simplysweetsisters.myshopify.com. Lunch available right now at the Thompson Road Tavern, especially on a Monday with the $5 Nashville Hot Chicken sandwich. And get yourself a bird feeder. Spring is coming. First day of spring is Friday. The birds are back. You want to look at them. Get yourself the bird feeder from our friends at Wild Birds Unlimited. With that, have a great rest of the day. We will talk lax with you late night tonight, and we'll see how the basketball week comes our way after that. Thanks for hanging out here on this Monday.
Thanks for watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. We'll see you next time.